You know what that means in English? They're making stuff up that they've never used against anybody because they hate Trump. That's what this is. They're brewing a legal cocktail, Tony, to try to come up with some bizarre theory of the law never used by anybody in New York just because they hate Trump. You know why they're doing this? Because they're afraid of Trump. That's why they're doing it.
Well, you know what's amazing about it to me? The New York Times actually admitted that this would amount to what would be considered a misdemeanor. I mean, we're talking about a grand jury that's been involved, the money that you have to pay to get a grand jury to have testimony, and this is what we're going to get out of it. I agree with you. I think
number one, I'm going to New York Monday, and you're lucky if you don't get mugged on the way to where you're going.
Yeah.
Is this really the most important thing going on in Manhattan, to be honest with you? So I think this is an effort that's ongoing, never-ending, to destroy Donald Trump, everything around Donald Trump. This is selective prosecution. If I were President Trump, I'd take this all the way to the damn Supreme Court.
Let's talk a little bit about Russia and Ukraine. We've got war going on. Putin invaded. It's been a little bit over a year. I went and looked up some of the numbers just to get a handle. The United States has supplied so far $26 billion in financial assistance, $18 billion in security assistance, and $28 billion on military aid and equipment. Some conservatives are beginning to ask the question. Some are saying we need more accountability. Some are saying maybe we need to back off. What's our real interest here in this part of the world? How would you talk about that? How would you address that?
Well, first, does it matter to America? How many of you believe China is an enemy to the United States? If you believe pulling the plug on Ukraine makes China less provocative, you should not be allowed to drive in South Carolina. So China's watching like a hawk. Why did he do it, Putin? Biden's been the weakest president since Jimmy Carter. Weakness breeds aggression. Let me tell you why it matters to us. This is the Palmetto family forum, right? What did Putin get accused of yesterday? Territorial dispute. The International Criminal Court has issued an arrest warrant for the president of Russia for kidnapping children in Ukraine and sending them to Russia. Do you believe in family values? How would you like that to happen to your family? So just shut up, get out of here. If you want to speak, go run and get elected. So here's the deal. The Putin, I am really conservative. If you believe in family, stand up for families everywhere, right? Don't you think God made us all in his image? If Putin gets away with this, Tony, there goes Taiwan. How many of you believe Israel is our friend? How many of you believe that the Iranians are knocking on the door getting a nuclear weapon? Well, they are. And all this has happened in 2 years. Trump had the world in a pretty good place. Biden has made Biden's been the weakest president in modern history, and they're licking their chops. Putin went in because he knew Biden wouldn't do anything. Even when Biden does the right thing, Tony, he does it slow. If we'd given the Ukraine the weapons they need, this war would have been over by now. Remind me not to invade Ukraine. These people will actually fight you. This started with Afghanistan, folks. We pulled the rug in Afghanistan. The head of CENTCOM, that region, general, said yesterday, we're 6 months away from ISIS being able to hit us again at home without warning. We've got a completely open border. ISIS is coming back in Afghanistan. Putin has invaded Russia. Iran is knocking on the door of a nuclear weapon, and China is all over Taiwan. Other than that, things are going great. How do you fix it? You stand up to aggression early on. If you could go back in time, Tony, what would you have done differently with Hitler? You'd have stopped him early on, wouldn't you? So what is Putin doing? Rewriting the map of Europe by force of arms. In 1994, Ukraine had 1,700 nuclear weapons. They gave them to Russia as part of an agreement where Russia promised to honor the territorial integrity of Ukraine, which included Crimea. Putin has torn up that deal. He's committing war crimes on an industrial scale. He's kidnapping children from one country, taking them from the parents that birthed them and loved them to send them back to Russia. That's not the world I am going to live in. I'm going to keep helping Ukraine. No boots on the ground. Give them what they need to win a war we can't afford to lose.
So you believe right now in Washington and Congress the support is still there to continue financial support, military support, to support Ukraine?
Yes, I do. And I'm telling you, if you think China is not watching, you're making a mistake. Don't you agree with that?
Yes.
Where is Xi going Monday? To Russia. Biden talks not even tough, but I'm afraid China is going to start providing arms to Russia because the Ukrainians are really decimating the Russian army. Don't you think Russia should be a state sponsor of terrorism under U.S. law? I've been begging Biden for a year and a half to do it. To get tanks, we had to pull teeth. To get the artillery they've been using effectively took us a year. We had a chance to put sanctions on Putin when he built up his forces outside of Ukraine and said, we don't want to be provocative. We had a chance to arm the Ukraine before the invasion. We don't want to be provocative. Let me tell you, when you're dealing with thugs and killers, you better be provocative.